How should we address you?
KT. KT is fine. That's fine. KT Turner. That's fine with me.
What does KT stand for?
It's a long story. So my real name is Kenneth Turner. So when I was in high school, the newspaper kept putting KT Turner. I'm like, that's not my name. And I couldn't get away from it. It stuck with me forever. When I became a coach, I tried to do it again. Like, all right, I can reinvent my name. So I'm like, Ken Turner. I put it on my voicemail and everything. And Coach Duryea, who's an assistant at Boise State, was my college coach. And he calls me one day. He goes, man, you can't change your name. You're KT Turner. You got to keep it. So it stuck with me. So that's how I got that name.
What's your wife or family calling it?
KT. Everybody calls me KT. Everybody calls me KT.
It's clear that Larry Brown is a big advocate of yours. He and Cal are close. Were there times before where you talked to Kentucky about joining Cal's staff?
Yeah. Probably a couple of years ago, we talked about me coming here, and the timing just wasn't right. But Coach Brown and Cal are really tight, and I've heard a lot of stories about him before I got here through him. But the timing just wasn't right, but it was right this time.
What was the problem with the timing then?
It was a position that was off the road, not recruiting, and that was just something at the time that I didn't want to do. And I talked to Coach Cal, and we agreed it wasn't the right time.
What do you like about recruiting? It seems like that's kind of your wheelhouse.
The relationship piece. I love building relationships with guys and families. I'm huge into that, and it's not, especially when they come. It's a lifetime relationship. And even sometimes guys that I don't get, we stay in contact when they're done playing, and I'll still try to help them out any way I can. But
I'm sorry.
I'm a huge relationship guy.
You might be too humble to answer this, but several people in the basketball world raved about you, said this was a great gift for Kentucky. Why do you think they're so high on you?
I think my experience. I've been coaching for 17 years. I've been in Final Fours, been on some great teams, coached some great players. So that's what I think.
Resume?
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned relationships. I mean, you're not nearly as old as Coach Cal is, but you're still old enough to be like these players' fathers. Do you find it challenging to still kind of connect with them in regard to arts and music and pop culture, things of that nature?
I'm 43 right now, and I kind of listen to some of the music they listen to, but not all of it. But it's something I have a knack for, is just creating relationships with them, and sometimes it's hard, it is, but I just continue to talk to them and try to be with them as much as I can.
If I heard you correctly, you said Larry Brown shared some Coach Cal stories with you. I'm wondering if you can, like, one or two that jumped out, vividly.
Some of them I might not be able to tell, but I can't think of one right off the top of my head. But Coach Brown has an unbelievable respect for Cal, and I'm serious. Like, he talked about him all the time, and they talked all the time. And when I got to meet him, it was really great meeting him. But if I can think of one in a minute, I'll let you know.
You talk about keeping relationships with guys you don't get. Any of these current Kentucky players did you recruit at high school?
Yeah, it's funny. Cason Wallace, his dad, Cason Wallace, Damian, but Cason's dad calls me. When I was at Texas, I was recruiting Cason. He goes, hey man, you better keep those words. You say you're gonna take care of my boy, so hey, we're gonna see if you stand up to that. But yeah, Cason and Damian, I recruited.
What was your impressions of Cason as a recruit? What should people expect?
He's an unbelievable hard worker. He's an unbelievable leader. I remember going to watch him practice and the way he led the guys. He's a worker, he's a grinder, unbelievable kid. And he's a heck of a basketball player. And he's going to continue to get better the way he works.
You were the associate head coach, correct, at Oklahoma?
Yes.
I'm wondering, that seems like one step from the top. Why come to Kentucky?
But I don't have an ego like that, and I've had the associate head coach tag at SMU 4 years, I believe, at Texas and then Oklahoma. So, I mean, I know what I can do on the court and how I can help the program out.
You look like you can still play. Can you still hang
I
with some of these
can't.
guys?
I can't play anymore. My son all the time, he's like, Dad, let me see you dunk. And I'm like, all right, let me stretch. And he's like, you always have to stretch. But I stopped playing probably about 5 years ago. I work out, but I can't play anymore. I'm scared to get hurt.
Well, when Coach Cal,
What kind of player were you back in the day?
I was a point guard, so I had pretty good size as a point guard, and I could really pass and shoot. And I was a skilled player, but I didn't play much defense.
Katie, I think you transferred 3 or 4 times when you were in college. In this day and age where the transfer portal is so important in roster building, can you use that experience to?
Yeah, I use it all the time. I use it all the time, and sometimes, sometimes guys, when they transfer, it's something they try to make it seem like a negative thing, but sometimes it can be a positive thing. One time Shimmy Ojale left Duke, and I really believe in my heart if he would have stayed there, he probably wouldn't have played, but he came to SMU, and in 1 year he went to the NBA. So sometimes it can be a positive thing, but yes, I use that a lot with transfers because I lived it.
Katie, when you're out recruiting, what do you look for in a player?
One, skill level, size, and personally toughness. I like tough players, but nowadays you have to have a skill set. You got to be able to make shots. But that's what I usually look for.
When Coach Cal talks about UK being the gold standard, as somebody who was recently on the outside but now is on the inside, how did that strike you? And do you think that's an effective recruiting tool?
Well, one thing I've noticed, I've been here a week today, I believe. The culture is real. The guys work. That's what they're here for. Is to work, and he talks about that all the time. Is you have to work, you have to live in the gym. But what I've noticed, the culture is real.
How has NIL changed your recruiting tactics, or has it at all?
It has and it hasn't. It comes up. It's definitely gonna come up, but at the beginning, it's still a relationship piece. But NIL is definitely it's helping kids make decisions nowadays. That's why they make them.
I doubt if easy is the right word. I don't know if this job will become easier for you now that you're in Kentucky, but what do you think it's going to be like now when you pick up the phone or you reach out and say, this is Coach Turner from Kentucky?
Yeah, no doubt. One thing I'll tell you, I can use every contact in my phone now. As at other schools, it might be the number 1 or 2 player in the country here. Like, I'm probably not getting him, but I feel like I can use every contact in my phone right now, and I have plenty of them.
How many times when you reached out to a kid when you were at SMU did you have to tell them where it was?
Oh, all the time. All the time. Yeah, SMU from Dallas, Texas. I mean, it just, people would always say, where, who? So, yeah, I would have to explain that all the time.
Your father was a coach, right? How, I guess the logical conclusion was you watched him and wanted to emulate him.
No doubt.
Yeah, tell us about getting into coaching.
By the time I was probably 10 years old, I knew I wanted to be a college coach. That never left me. He taught me a lot about the game, a lot about the profession. I remember he would let me pick one trip in the summer. I could go recruiting with him every summer. And I remember seeing Penny Hardaway and guys like that. But I got to really see how he worked, and I remember he'd be in the basement at night calling recruits on a calling card and stuff like that. But and on recruiting trips, we'd be waiting at a payphone to call back to the head coach and tell him who he saw. So I got a crash course in all that stuff at a young age.
Any advice that he gave you that,
Just to work. My dad was a military guy, so it was all about working hard, and that's always stuck with me.
This is the second time you're following Coach Jay Lucas to
Yeah.
school.
Yep.
Just a coincidence? Anything to that? Or?
No, it's nothing to it. We're actually good friends. We talk, but it's just ironic that it happened like that. But nothing that we tried to do intentionally or anything like that.
Now, when you saw that he moved on to Duke, and with Coach Shire being, I think, 34 and Jay being 33, and now you come in here and you're kind of assuming the role of the young guy here. Do you feel like that programs are kind of moving toward getting younger coaches in, and
Well, I know one thing. Recruiting is a youthful thing. I think. I think you said earlier, you have to be able to relate to them. And if you're 60 years old or something, it's hard to relate to them. But I think recruiting is definitely a youthful thing to have to talk to them on a daily basis and be able to carry on a conversation and kind of know things they're into. But like my son now, he's 12, so he actually helps me out with some of that stuff.
How well do you know Coach Antigua and Coach Coleman?
I know him well. I've known him for a long time. When I was at SMU, I was actually Coach Antigua's first conference game. They came to play us. So I've known both of those guys for a while. I actually played against Chin when I was at Wichita State and he was at Bradley. So we were just talking about that the other day, how we've come from the Missouri Valley and we're at Kentucky now. We kind of laughed at it.
Who got the best of who?
Oh, we won that game. he was talking though before the game. Yes, he was. First time I ever met him, he was talking before the game.
What was he saying?
He said he's gonna whoop us. He told me he's gonna get us that game.
What about when practice begins? What is your specialty if you have one you work?
I work. I mean, Coach Brown taught me to be a basketball coach. Don't ever pigeonhole yourself to being a defensive guy or offensive guy, and I stuck to that. So whatever coach needs me to do, I can do offense, I can do defense. I've been around a lot of great coaches, so I have a great knowledge of the game. So whatever he needs, I can help with.
Cal's done a really good job recruiting Texas since he's been here. How important is it to, one, maintain that pipeline, and two, what's the reputation of Kentucky basketball down there when you recruit against them?
Well, the reputation is kids in Texas really, they love Kentucky. I mean, the Tyrese Maxey, Julius Randles, I mean, they love those guys. De'Aaron Fox, I mean, it's a big thing in Texas. And Texas is such a big state. There's so many players there. And it's become a hotbed for college basketball recruiting. But a ton of talent down there, a ton. And like back to my son, he played down there, and I mean, it starts at an early age with the games and the leagues and stuff. So basketball has become huge in Texas, and it's not a football state anymore.
The SEC has had, A&M in the league for a while now, and Texas will join soon. Does that open up even more doors to you guys, you think, when that happens in Texas?
I think so. I think so. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
A&M's been in the league for a while now, and the state probably is more used to SEC and that culture and exposure. When Texas comes into the mix, does that even give you more opportunities to recruit?
Yeah, I think so, because kids a lot of them are going to be playing in the SEC, and I think that'll help us. But yeah, with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC, kids are going to be more apt to want to play in the SEC, I believe.
Okay, you're from Cincinnati, and I assume that you kind of remember the Pitino years, University of Kentucky basketball. What were some of your early memories of UK?
I just remember them being really good. And I remember my dad always saying if he was recruiting somebody, it might have been Sam Bowie or something. He was like, man, if Kentucky jumps in, he said, I'm leaving. I'm not going to win that one. So I always remember that.
Did you root for them?
No.
Who'd you root for?
Wherever my dad was coaching, that's what I rooted for.
What's the one big thing that you point to that you learned from Coach Brown? The one thing that really sticks out of you, man.
To be about the players. To be about the players. They're the ones who run the program. To treat them the right way, teach them. But that's the main thing is the relationship with the players I learned from them.
I worked in Texas back in the 80s, back in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Back then, there was no such thing as basketball camps. You could have football camp, couldn't have basketball camp. And that has changed, obviously. You just said that basketball is catching up with football down there. Can you put your finger on any particular reason why? Because like Aaron said, Calipari's had a lot of success down there.
Yeah, I think, like I said, going back to the leagues at an early age, and then there is a lot of people moving to Texas from other states, and I've really noticed that because of the cost of living and stuff. But it's a lot of people move there that's not originally from Dallas, but I'm telling you, they start at a young age, and they have great leagues, and they travel and things like that, and they have a lot of trainers. There's some really good trainers. One Tim Martin in Dallas that trains a lot of pros, and he trains young guys too. So it's a lot of basketball there.
How good do you think Kentucky can be next season?
Just the week I've been around the guys, I think sky's the limit. I think we have a chance. I do. I think we have a lot of great pieces. We have a lot of guys that work and they play together.
Did you watch the St. Peter's game? And I'm wondering, you're a basketball guy. Could you put that in context? You know what I mean?
I saw bits and pieces in the second half, towards I think the last couple of minutes, but I didn't watch it like that. But I just remember St. Peter's having some really good guards, but I don't remember the game vividly like that.
As a basketball professional, what was your take on what Oscar Tshiebwe did this season all year long?
It was unreal. Like he got a rebound today, and I'm like, whoa. But the way he rebounded the basketball and the double doubles and stuff, and then I got to meet him in person. I saw his size. I'm like, I see why now. But he was very, very impressive last year, and I hope he has another year like that.
Can you contextualize for where Damian came from in Texas, what competition he was facing, and just the challenge it has been for him to...
Yeah, he was from a little small town, like super small town, and he's gotten a lot better since I last saw him, and he's working, and it is hard when you're coming from a small town like that to jump into this level of basketball, and what I've been told from the staff, he's been working and learning, and like I said, I'm really impressed how much better he's gotten since I've seen him last.
Casey, you mentioned talking with John before about coming to work for him. From afar, what stood out about him as a coach and your relationship to want to work for him?
Cal is Cal. He wins one, and he's about the players. I love that about him. I don't think that's fake at all. A lot of coaches say that, but every day I've been there, it's been about the players. And I've always liked that about him. Like I said, he wins and he gets guys to the NBA, and I love his personality. And like I said, I hate to keep talking about it, but Larry Brown just raved about him all the time.
What does that mean when you say he's about the player? How can you tell? Because you can't just say it.
Yeah. In our meetings, he's concerned what's going on. Make sure you're talking to him. He's just really concerned about them, making sure they're working, making sure they're doing things the right way. But he's just in the conversation in our meetings. It's player driven.
What kind of advice has Calipari or even some of the other assistants given you about taking this job and maybe how you go about it?
Just everybody's gonna be shooting for us. Be myself. But I've heard it's gonna be bazooka shooting at us. But I'm ready for it.
Cal said about you that you had a reputation about player development. That's kind of something that you've had for a while. Where do you think that came from? Just the player development reputation you've earned.
Growing up, I played a lot of basketball, and going back to my dad, just watching him, watching other coaches. I was around Dana Altman a lot, but just being in the gym and working out myself and learning different things and just really passing on what I know to guys now. But I study it. I love doing it. I love to see guys get better, no matter if they're the #1 player in the country or they're barely on the team. I love working with guys and getting guys better.
You've only been here a week, but what about the city of Lexington stands out to you?
The people they've been so welcoming. I told my wife she's gonna love it when she gets here. Everywhere we go, people are welcoming. And you guys have some really good food spots. I didn't think that's more than what I thought.
Have you had like a hot brown?
A hot brown?
Definitely not.
I haven't had that one yet. You gotta take me there. You gotta tell me where to go.
How about a little bourbon?
Once.
Once. What is it?
Yeah, good. Really.
The football coach here has his brand of bourbon that he's bottling, so you need to check that out.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't know that.
In all the stops you've made, have you ever seen a place where the assistant coach has a press conference with 8 cameras and 20 people here?
Never. Never. I'm like, this is big time right here. Never have. This is the first time I've ever seen that.